What's up, everyone? Christian Duque, MD Noble Weekly, brought to you proudly by IronMagLabs.com. Let's check out some of the great products. We got Andro Hard to build a muscle. We got Lean Fuel Extreme for the energy. And of course, we got Dream and Grow for the Z's. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Sergio Oliva Jr. in the Southern States, Vancouver chat. We're going to talk about the end of the Boston Lloyd experiment, a major feud in bodybuilding, Super League, and also industry news and featured question of the week. Next. All right, let's talk about the Southern States. First and foremost, big thank you to my good friend Gary Udit, MPC Mid-Atlantic Zone Chairman, for hooking me up with passes. Big thank you to Peter Potter, excellent promoter and original back in the day with Jim Mannion. Over 300 competitors at the War Memorial Convention Center, downtown Fort Lauderdale. Some of the best guest posers. Ariel Kadar was fantastic. Just won in Miami, headed to the Fitness Olympia. Darren Charles, my gosh, terrorizing guys half his age in classic men's physique. Ryan Terry, so accomplished, absolutely brilliant. Dallas McCarver, over 330 pounds of rock hard muscle. I made a point to go backstage and talk to him, shook his hand, took a photo. I was very critical of him this year, and you know, he understood that I'm just a journalist. It's not personal. Again, class act. Sergio Oliva, let me tell you something. First and foremost, big thank you to my good friend Kit Sanderson, editor-in-chief and CEO of MD Latino, for giving me the opportunity to interview Sergio, as well as Shandy Ortiz and the overall bodybuilding winner. But let me tell you something. Sergio was mobbed before the guest posing. He was mobbed afterwards. This is a guy that won the Nationals in 2015 and just 2 years later won arguably the third biggest bodybuilding show. And let me tell you something, one of the most laid-back, real bodybuilders that I have ever met. So I have to tell you something. His future is extremely bright. The interview is great. He's not a bullshitter. He tells you like it is. It comes from the heart. You know, he has a lot to live up to. His dad was, my gosh, one of the biggest legends. He made Arnold fight like no other. And so, you know, he has to live up to his father, and he also has to set his own standard. And he's just doing a great job. I can't say enough about Sergio Oliva Jr. I hope you check out the interview, available at mdlatino.com. All right, let's talk Vancouver Recap. I got my notes. There's way too much information. Michael Locker, Ricardo Correa, they repeat Chicago in Vancouver, win back-to-back. That's huge. Second place, BPI superstar Reagan Grimes. He takes runner-up. Great physique. Already people are starting to talk about him. Third place, Josh Wade, looked pretty good. Fourth place, Kevin Jordan, looked better in Chicago. Fifth place, Brandon Ray, I think looked okay. But Sean Ray in Unleashed episode 30 was very critical. And, you know, Brandon said that there were issues with the photos, some of the photos that were being used. Said he had some issues with his posing oil. I think Brandon looks pretty good, probably could look better. Sean has very, very high expectations for him and was very critical. That having been said, some people are suggesting that Michael Lockett has gyno, and it boggles my mind if people don't realize the huge difference between pseudo-gyno and full-blown gyno. Now, clearly, Michael Lockett does not have full-blown gyno and may not even have pseudo-gyno. What he does have is he's reaping the benefits of years of hard work and sacrifice. He won in Chicago, he won in Vancouver, and I think people are just lining up to possibly attack him because, you know, they have sour grapes. I don't know. He has a tiny midsection. He's really balanced his legs. He dials it in. He's a great poser. He's a great ambassador. I don't know what more people could ask of Michael Lockett. So, you know, this whole gyno thing, I think, is just a distraction. I don't really buy into it at all. Reagan Grimes is also getting a lot of blowback from people saying that, you know, he's just not big enough and he has to gain mass. And one of the things I love about Reagan is the fact that he's so mature in that sense that he's not going to blow out his belly. He's not going to have a bubble gut like Louis Marco talks about. He's not going to have a distended waist or anything like that, abdomen or whatever, because the reality of the matter is he's going to build the muscle in a Lee Haney-esque kind of way. Mass with class over time, doing it right. And, you know, there's just people attacking him for that. And there's people attacking him because he's a good-looking guy. Yeah, I mean, they're saying, well, you know, only white American and Canadian guys like Reagan Grimes because he's so good-looking. And that's a crock of shit. I mean, you know, the fact is, okay, some of the good-looking people in the sport over the years have been very successful in movies and commercials and contracts, like a Bob Paris or a Gunter Schlierkamp, but does nothing for them on the scorecards. And anyone that suggests that either doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about or simply want to deny Reagan the fact that he went top 5 on his pro debut, that he's runner-up at another IFB-sanctioned event. So I just think it's sour grapes. Now, Paulo Almeida, Mr. Canada, places out of the top 6. I would have loved for him to be in the top 5, even possibly the top 3. He's a phenomenal bodybuilder. Team 5%er all the way. Rich Piana has always had his back. The 5%er family think the world of him. This guy loves the fans like no one else. Takes photos. He does interviews with StrengthAddicts.com. Who the hell am I? He gives me an interview every year, talks to me, takes photos with me. You know, Paulo and Cody Losi, who's no longer at 5%, but Paulo and Cody, to me, were like the greatest athletes in Team 5% beside Rich Piana. And I got to tell you something. Paulo is the real deal. Competes around 270, 275, totally ripped. Great poser. This guy trains like an animal in the gym. He's called the Freak for a reason. You know, but again, Mr. Canada, it would have been great to see him up there. IFBB is, you know, where the best of the best come to compete. It's a very subjective sport. The judges may not have been looking for his physique on the day of the show. It is what it is, and I know he'll be back. I also want to send a quick shout out to my good friend Mark Sindayan, classic men's physique competitor. He's completely natural. He doesn't like to broadcast that. Like a good natty, he keeps it to himself. But I really respect the hell out of him. He went pro as a bodybuilder at the, you know, urging of many people, myself included, went into classic men's physique. He's competing, he's battling, he loves the sport, he's a great ambassador, and I'm very proud of him. Very proud to call him my friend. So let's talk about Boston Lloyd. The experiment is over. He wants to start a family. He's apparently dropped about 11 pounds of muscle. He's lashing out at Paulo Almeida, and he's taking less gear, I think. He's working on a documentary. He was on RX Muscle, and I think that's pretty much it. Okay, so there is a huge feud. It's very, very complicated, and I don't even have the full story. Johnny Bravo does exposés, and he is thought of very highly by the MSM crew. If you don't know what MSM is, it stands for Muscle Sport Mag, and you're going to have to learn this because I do a lot of stuff with them. Now, MSM think very highly of Johnny Bravo, particularly ousted MSM managing editor Greg Valentino. I believe Johnny follows me and I follow him. I don't know who followed first. It doesn't really matter. I got tagged on a document that involved Mark Lobliner. I didn't know what the hell it was. I contacted Mark. He gave me one story. I contacted Johnny. He gave me another story. Basically, the synopsis of it all, based on my observations, which may not be the actual factual way that it all transpired, but based on my observations on Mark's videos, Anytime Fitness's videos, Jason's videos, Johnny's videos, and my communications with Johnny and my communications with Mark, is that Johnny Bravo reached out to Mark Lobliner and said he was going to expose him in a story, but that it wasn't personal. I don't know anybody that's going to take that personally because it's just human nature, but I understand that Johnny wanted to make the point that, hey, this is not a malicious attack on you. It just happens to be my job. This is what I do. Okay. Mark then, according to Johnny, Mark and Anytime Fitness, who were not friends, became friends and started to discredit Johnny. Johnny then told Jason Genova, who, according to Johnny, he has been friends with for over 2 years and speaks to almost on a daily basis. Jason then lashed out at Anytime Fitness, attacking him and possibly people around him, and also Order 66 Mark and Anytime Fitness. As a result, according to Johnny, Mark will no longer pay for Jason Genova his airfare and hotel to attend the Real Weights for Real Heroes event, which is going to benefit the Semper Fi Fund. As a result of that, Jason Genova and Big Lenny made a video to Mark saying, you should not have done that. You know, this is just, you know, whatever. But now Mark will not fly Jason out, will not pay for his hotel. And it's just this whole thing that's going on right now. And hey, these are huge people. Johnny Bravo, huge. Mark Lobliner, huge. Anytime Fitness, huge. I've seen a few of his videos. I wasn't familiar. Good videos. And, you know, Jason Genova is huge. Now, it can get more complicated because Jason is very good friends with PJ Braun from Blackstone Labs. And PJ, I think very highly of. And I don't think PJ is just going to sit around. You know, if Jason were to get into a situation where maybe he was cornered or not treated correctly, I don't know. But, you know, that's always a possibility. Now, the Real Waves for Real Heroes event is fantastic, and it benefits the Semper Fi Fund. It benefits the veterans. It's going to be a great event with a who's who of social media stars. It's going to be, you know, just an incredible success. And I would hate for anything dealing with Jason or anyone else to take away from that. But Johnny has his own take on the event and his own take on the friendship between Anytime Fitness and Mark Lobliner. And then Jason with the Order 66s, which we all know antagonize a lot of people. And then Johnny is accusing Mark Lobliner and Anytime Fitness of reporting Jason Genova to YouTube. And YouTube now, according to Johnny, has suspended Jason Genova for 2 weeks for complaints based on bullying. So there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of people that are probably going to weigh in. You know, people like, you know, Jerry Ward, people like Jason Blaha, and so many others. And I would be remiss if I didn't address it on this wonderful show, which is MD Noble Weekly with Christian Duque, available exclusively at musculardevelopment.com, sponsored by ironmaglabs.com. So there's a new organization that's called Super League, and it's not judged by judges. You are, well, you're not judged because there's no judges, but you're assessed by your muscularity, your shoulders to waist ratios and other ratios, and then there's a bunch of exercises, and you pick the one you like the most, and they, you know, put weights based on your body weight or something like that, and then the maximum number of reps you can do times, I think that's called the deltas, I don't know, the deltas are your ratios, like proportions and all that, and then your physical output, and then, you know, it's scored and all that. So there's no judging panel. It's all scored. And Dorian is one of the judges. And to become a pro, you have to beat a pro. And anybody can join it. You just got to pay $99 to some gym. And yeah, it's you know, at the end of this month, Tony Freeman, who apparently left the IFBB to join another organization, might have left that one too to join Super League. I don't know. Maybe he's still in that other organization because, like, he was supposedly getting like $150,000 a year from them, so I'm sure that he's still with them because that's really big money, right? Anyways, so he's at Super League, and he's gonna be taking on Mike O'Hearn, who I really like a lot. You know, Muscle and Fitness cover, and just like God with a lowercase G. I can't offend, you know, the real God, but you know what I mean. Mike O'Hearn is it, so it's just, I'm really excited about Super League. I'm sure it's gonna be a huge success. Time for industry news and happenings, plus the featured question of the week. Pro Bodybuilding Weekly returns with new hosts Dave Burleigh and Eric Brozier out of Venice Beach, California, available exclusively at digitalmuscle.com. RxMuscle.com's Dave Palumbo underwent shoulder surgery successfully and is in rehab. Kevin Levrone, the Maryland Muscle Machine, had an epic interview with MD Online Editor-in-Chief Ron Harris for the Ronline Report. Definitely check that out. Phil Heath has ruffled some feathers with his brand new show, Chasing Arnold, on This Is Collide. Now, a lot of people are a little butthurt because they're saying, Phil Heath, you're no Arnold. But of course, Phil titled the show that because he wants to tie the Oaks Olympia record. Also, is Comerica Muscle replacing ousted MSM, Muscle Sport Mag, managing editor Greg Valentino? Comerica has been on the air with Joe Pietaro, and a lot of people are wondering if he is Greg's replacement. Now, Comerica is a great presenter, has a great voice, has a great personality, but lacks the star power of Greg Valentino. The reality of the matter is, Joe will be hard-pressed to find anyone to replace Greg in the fitness industry. The only person that I would say would be comparable would be Jimmy the Iron Bull Pelleccia. However, if Joe couldn't control Greg, he sure as hell ain't going to control Jimmy. And finally, the featured question of the week. It comes to us from Jack Tatone. I love Jack. You know why I love Jack? Because Jack is a straight shooter. He'll tell you exactly what he's thinking. No bullshit, no filter, no PC-ness. He will speak his mind. Now, his question is, should companies, supplement companies, pay their workers to work their booth? Now, Chad Nichols posted on Facebook a very interesting scenario. Somebody contacted him and said, should they call in sick from work on a Saturday to go work for a company where the company wasn't going to pay them, wasn't going to give them supplements, and wanted them to buy t-shirts for the honor of working for the company? Here's the reality, folks. To Chad's question, or Chad's scenario, and to Jack's question, I believe supplement companies should compensate booth workers, whether it's in supplement powders or money. That is the way to do it. If you're an athlete and you work a booth without doing any work, just by being at the booth, you are telling everybody that goes by that you use the products, that you believe in the products help you build the physique you have, hopefully you have physique, and that you recommend the products. And that's without saying anything. That's just by you standing behind that booth. That is the message that you're emanating to the people that walk by. Also, the idea of making important industry contacts is kind of hokey, because most of the people that you're going to interact with at fitness expos or at shows as a booth worker are people wanting freebies, samples, free t-shirts, swag, probably won't buy shit, probably will never compete, probably don't even really lift all that consistently. They want free stuff. Making contacts with those people really isn't going to help you. Making contacts with people inside the booth might help you if you're working with big stars in the NPC or the FBB. If you're working with other people like yourself that got suckered into a bullshit deal, then you're just basically networking with other people that got bullshitted into a sucker's deal. The reality of the matter is, if you're working for booth X, it's very unlikely that a supplement owner from, company Y, G, L, P, C, and D are going to walk by and say, wow, you're a great athlete. Let me get your name there, bucko, because when I need someone, I'm going to call you. That just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to here to tell you that working a booth isn't going to give you exposure, because it will. And you want exposure, and you want to talk to those freeloading fans, and you want to talk to other people, and you might meet someone important. It is good to be out there. It is good to do the business of bodybuilding, as Bob Ciccarello would say, from the wildly successful The Last Rep show, getting dozens of views all over the internet today. But the reality of the matter is that it's a lopsided deal if you are an athlete working a booth and you're not getting paid either in supplements or money. And it's an absolute travesty if you're not getting paid in any way, and then you're expected to buy in just to work for free. Till the next episode, this is Christian Duque, MD, No Bull Weekly.